Just when you think you saw enough. Oh, you know what? Before we continue, if I could, just a real quick shout out.
Oh
To
wow, there's a little hope. There's a little hope in the world there.
a quick shout out to my cousin. 5 pounds 5 ounces, born at 2:22. So local time, just about 3 hours ago. Trust me when I tell you, nobody in my family is watching this broadcast right now.
Maverick James. That's great. Great name. Such a beautiful baby, and so that's all a lot of hope there, and that's what it's all about, right? When we keep having these miracle births, and we look at that and say that's hope. Really, that's why we as human beings keep going. We say we're gonna keep bringing people into this world and hope for the best.
And in darkest times, right? Sometimes you see some positive stuff.
Yep.
But anyhow, I just wanted to make a quick shout out to my cousin Kim and Zach, and God bless, and we have another little one we can spoil. So very happy, very very proud. Love you guys both. So
congratulations.
Let's I turned that off a little quick, but anyhow, that's in stark contrast to what we saw last night. Yeah,
absolutely.
Last night, during a protest about a guy who got shot in the back 7 times by a police officer, some 17-year-old shithead, a white 17-year-old shithead, decided to go join the protests. And his reason for going there, and I really don't know if it says so in the article. This is from PBS. He went there. His excuse was to protect the businesses. Frank, to protect the businesses. And the 17-year-old shithead goes with an automatic weapon. I found out about a half an hour ago that apparently his mother actually drove him to the place. This Kyle Rittenhouse.
That's truly amazing.
Of Antioch, Illinois, about 15 miles from Kenosha. So you figure what, a half-hour drive?
About that, yep.
Just giving taking a shot in the dark. Shoot somebody. Actually, after all is said and done, and Frank, you can get into it because I know there's somebody that you wanted to talk about during this whole thing. Shoots 2 people, wounds a third. Here's the shitty part of this whole thing. The same police department, the same police force who decided it was a good idea to put 7 bullets in the back of somebody while they were holding onto a shirt, decided to let this asshole go, even though he sits there and says, I just killed somebody.
Yeah.
As he's walking away from this whole thing, there's a crowd of people behind him telling the police this guy just shot somebody, and the police just waved them on.
Yeah.
Just waved them on.
Yep. It's truly amazing, disgusting. We've passed into some of the worst times I've ever witnessed in my life. Tamir Rice was a young, 12-year-old boy playing in a park in Cleveland, outside of Cleveland, and he had a fake gun in his hand. And the police rolled up, opened their car doors, and shot him. A fake gun. Didn't shoot anybody. And they just shot and killed Tamir Rice. But this guy shot and killed 2 people and wounded a third, and they just let him walk away with an assault rifle, a literal assault rifle on his arm, across his chest. Now, one of the people who got killed apparently wasn't going to stand for that. And he paid for it with his life. And that was, I believe his first name is Anthony, last name Huber. Huber is definitely his last name. I believe he was 24 years old as he saw people becoming endangered by this jackass Rittenhouse. Yeah, there's a picture. Thanks for posting it. Here's the real hero in this situation. This guy, with nothing but his skateboard, attacks the guy with an assault rifle, takes him to the ground, has him nearly disarmed, But as he's trying to pull the gun away from him while the guy's laying on his back on the ground, he fires a shot from close range and kills Mr. Huber. So Mr. Huber laid down his life to try to save other people and to try, for the purpose of law and order, to bring in this killer. But the police, the cowardly police in Kenosha, Wisconsin, just allowed him to walk away.
He, well, we talked the other day. I don't know if folks remember. You and I talked the other day about the family, and just to keep the optics going. It was a white family. Was a father whose son was murdered by the same police department. Let's say a decade ago. The cop shot him in front of his mother and sister
On a routine traffic stop, more or less, right?
Yeah, and the asshole cop got his gun tied up or caught on the rearview mirror. Decides to yell that this kid got his gun, and the other cop beside him puts the gun literally to the kid's head and pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
And now, that we'll say was a decade ago, was maybe 8 to 10 years ago or something like that. And now this here, I'm getting the feeling that we have a whole bunch of people who think that they're above the law in one particular police force.
Seems that way.
Yeah. Seems like it. That being said, I have no doubt that this thing could have been or was racially motivated, especially whenever you see this shithead, this 17-year-old shithead. Don't forget, that's a minor. He's not permitted to be carrying this gun. Walked right up to the cops, and the cops wave him on. This kid looks like he's 6 years old. I don't know if you saw a picture of him or not. Okay, but this kid looks like he's 6 years old. They don't even bother to stop to check his ID.
Yeah. Here's the thing, too.
He's carrying an assault rifle across his chest.
This kid thinks he's a tough guy. He's the one guy with an assault rifle. Wait till everybody starts bringing guns, because everybody's entitled to bring guns now. It's a Second Amendment, right? So that means the protesters, the progressives, the liberals, everybody and anybody can bring guns. So it's not just you shooting, picking people off randomly and willy-nilly with no resistance. Soon you're going to return fire. And I don't think it's long. What about you? I don't think it's long before everybody starts bringing guns.
Frank, I'm going to be dead honest with you. I am completely surprised, and I swear it's solely through the grace of God that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
I really believe that. It's an act of God that, that these protesters, because Frank, what happens, right? We start seeing this circle. We're going to show a clip from Trevor Noah last night that really hits it on the head. But you see the same shit happen over and over and over again, right? An unarmed black guy gets killed, either shot in the back or gets choked out by somebody's knee, or gets shot because he has a cell phone in his hand, and the cop all of a sudden thinks it's a gun because guns glow, I guess. I don't know. And protests start, and instead of allowing the protests to just go, the cops feel like it's their duty to block or stop the protest, so they get angry. And it happens again the next night, and they get angry. And it happens again the next night, they get angry. And the next thing you know, that anger turns to rioting, because that's what happens when you get angry. When crowds of people get angry, they turn to riots.
Right.
And then, for whatever reason, either it goes on too long, or somehow it gets dissipated, which doesn't happen very often, but it does. And then everything's quiet for a little while, and then some other unarmed black guy gets shot, and this cycle just repeats itself, and nothing changes. And you have a leadership, or people who are in a leadership position, who don't even bother to acknowledge it. They don't even bother to acknowledge there's a problem. But they will tell you that there's a lot of violence going on in Democrat-controlled cities.
Right. It's not the United States of America that is under a presidential control of somebody who claimed I'm the only one that can change things. I'm the only one that can save everybody. It's not under that control. It's under democratically controlled leadership, right?
Right.
Yeah. So when it's violence in those cities, yeah. But speaking of that, you asked me before we went on the air, and good segue. Do you think we'll hear anything from the Orange Cheeto tonight about what happened last night?
No, I don't think he's going to acknowledge anything. I think what he'll do is he'll do what he normally does, right? What did we always say? He's either confessing or projecting, right?
Yeah.
And I think he'll project something. I think he'll project a lot, but I don't think he's going to show any compassion. He's not going to show any leadership. He's not going to show anything to acknowledge how this whole thing even started.
Right.
No, not at all. What about you?
I have to agree with you. I mean, the most we'll hear is some kind of, quackery around the idea that, there's violence in the suburbs and we have to send out, help to quell it. And the governor of Wisconsin is now asking for our help, which is the right thing to do. He won't talk about Rittenhouse and his shooting spree and how that was allowed to go on. He won't mention that in the least.
No. Well, we might as well do the Trevor Noah thing, right? Because this was something, and you know what? He's one of those people who you can tell whenever, like, he's not just bitching like this. It hurts.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is it right here. This is what he had to say.
And although there have been peaceful protests, I mean, that inevitably gets overshadowed when there's so much civil unrest. So once again, the pattern repeats itself. An unarmed black person is shot by the cops. In response, people go into the streets. More law enforcement is sent in, and the chaos only continues to grow. I could tell you the story with my eyes closed by now. Like, if I wanted to, I could pre-record 5 of these segments, go on vacation, and you'd probably never know. And in this situation, just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, last night, it did.
Breaking news, a very dangerous situation in Kenosha, Wisconsin. 2 people are dead in clashes that may have involved armed vigilantes, people who may have moved into that city to counter the protests following the police shooting of Jacob Blake.
The sheriff used the word militia to describe some of the people who may have been involved in last night's shooting.
We just learned that a 17-year-old has been charged with first-degree murder in at least one of those killings last night.
And we now have seen some social media videos of a man with a long gun strapped across his chest running down the street or walking down the street and being chased by people who are yelling, "He's shooting, he shot someone." The man trips, falls on his own. People still try to come and apprehend him and get him. He then fires again at point blank range at 2 more people, and then the man continues to walk down the street. He is a white man with a huge gun strapped across his chest with his hands up, as you see police vehicles, not 1, not 2, but 3 vehicles who are coming towards him. He has his hands up with his gun. People are yelling, "He shot someone, he shot someone," and police pass him by. There are a lot of questions here as to why he wasn't apprehended at that time.
That's right, last night, some guy decided to drive to Kenosha with his militia buddies to protect a business, and apparently ended up shooting 3 people and killing 2. But don't worry, the business is okay. And let me tell you something. No one drives into a city with guns because they love someone else's business that much. That's some bullshit. No one has ever thought, oh, it's my solemn duty to pick up a rifle and protect that TJ Maxx. They do it because they're hoping to shoot someone. That's the only reason people like him join these gangs in the first place. And yes, I said it, a gang. Enough with this militia bullshit. This isn't the Battle of Yorktown. It's a bunch of dudes threatening people with guns. And while what happened with those shootings last night is tragic, what happened afterwards is illuminating. Because it really made me wonder why some people get shot 7 times in the back, while other people are treated like human beings and reasoned with and taken into custody with no bullets in their bodies? How come Jacob Blake was seen as a deadly threat for a theoretical gun that he might have and might try to commit a crime with, but this gunman who was armed and had already shot people who had shown that he is a threat was arrested the next day, given full due process of the law, and generally treated like a human being whose life matters? How did Dylan Roof shoot up a church, James Holmes shoot up a movie theater, and both lived to tell about it? Why is it that the police decide that some threats must be extinguished immediately while other threats get the privilege of being diffused? I'm asking these as questions, but I feel like we know the answer. The answer is that the gun doesn't matter as much as who is holding the gun. Because to some people, black skin is the most threatening weapon of all.
That says a lot.
It does, and it's truth. And you know, the examples he gave are examples that are, you know, irrefutable. There's no way around it. There's just really no way around it.
No, you really can't try to bullshit or explain your way out of that.
No.
You know, you can't. I was nice. I was glad to see that finally somebody called these militias gangs.
Yeah.
You know, that was nice to see. Hopefully that catches on. Hopefully that stays because that's exactly what they are.
For sure.
I know a couple of folks in gangs and I know a couple of folks in militias, and I can tell you honestly, there's no difference. There's no
None.
difference. No.
None.
It's the same shit. But because of this, you had the NBA cancel their games, right? I think the Milwaukee Bucks started the whole thing off. Where they they didn't even bother to show up on the court, right? And they didn't tell anybody. They didn't even tell. I think they were playing Orlando, and they didn't even bother to tell them. They just didn't show up. They stayed in the locker room. NBA ends up canceling all the games, and these are playoff games.
Right.
Last night, or postponing them. I'm sorry. I found out. I saw on TV about an hour before we started that they postponed tonight's games too. So there's no NBA last night. There's no NBA tonight. WNBA did the same thing. I don't know what they're doing tonight. I didn't see. I apologize. I just didn't have time to look. MLS, same thing. Decided they weren't going to have any games. And that was the players that decided that, although MLS took credit for it. Unfortunately, you didn't see that with MLB. And I don't know if anybody ever heard of Naomi Osaka.
Oh yeah, she's a champ.
Yeah, she's a 2 Grand Slam champ. I think two Grand Slam tournaments. She beat Williams
one time.
Yeah. It was Wimbledon.
Yeah, she cried. Remember, because she said that was her hero, and it was so emotional that she beat her. And that was an amazing match. And she's the heir apparent. If you haven't heard of her yet, you're gonna hear of her. Not just because of what she just did, but it's amazing what she did.
Well, she's in the southern final, the semifinal of the Western and Southern Open, and she forfeited. She's out. She's not playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wrote a great statement. I don't know if you read it or not, but it's fantastic. And she said she just can't bring herself to play under the circumstances. So
the underlying quote is, "Before I'm an athlete, I'm a black woman, and as a black woman, I feel there are more important matters at hand rather than watching me play tennis." Great story. Great quote. I want to say that there was somebody in the NBA, and I want to say it was LeBron, and I can't tell you why I'm saying that. It very well could not be. So everybody don't say, "Oh, Patsy said it was LeBron." I don't know for a fact. But the quote was, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, was if they can't respect our bodies enough to not put 7 bullets in them, they don't have the privilege to watch us play basketball.
Yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to watch. I sent you a clip from TNT last night where Chris Webber was
Yeah.
talking with EJ and Charles Barkley and Stan Van Gundy. It's a tremendous, unscripted, from the moment, from the heart talk. And Chris Webber, at times he was, I would say, just thoughts off the top of his head were coming out of his mouth. But if you look at the total and hear the total of what he was saying, it was an amazing, amazing moment to listen to. We talked about the NBA yesterday when we were first on. It was just kind of breaking news as we covered it. But watching that story, watching him talk about it last night, and Stan Van Gundy as well, it was amazing. They especially Weber talked about how, in response to a question from Charles Barkley saying, how is it that we as black, white, and, Asian and anybody else can get together on a team and get along so well and do well together as, friends and teammates. But in general society, you don't see that. And Stan Van Gundy tried to address it. And he addressed it pretty well, but he talked about how you care about one another once you get to know each other, and getting to know somebody is the key. And then Chris Webber said, but the problem is there's millions of people that'll never get to know, Stan Van Gundy, that'll never get to know Charles Barkley or Chris Webber. And they'll never get to be known themselves, and they deserve it, but they won't get that opportunity. And that's systemic racism. And, it's one of those things that we really, don't address enough in terms of understanding how systemic racism works. But people that don't have opportunities unless they're an athlete or an entertainer, and they can really, shine in that realm, the other opportunities are much harder to attain without connections, without some kind of help or assistance. They're just basically in difficult situations to get out of it. If we were in those situations, Stan Van Gundy said it too, I can't even tell you, living life in white skin, growing up in this country, what, black people have had to endure. I only know it from stories that I hear, but I can't even fathom what that is because we don't live that, So in any event,
Yeah.
It's a very good story.
I want to leave with this. I'm sorry, because I have to go. I have to go to my
Practice. I apologize for that. Mookie Betts and the Dodgers was not sanctioned by MLB, but they themselves decided to boycott last night. So credit to them and the Dodgers team for backing him up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see that his teammates had his back, and it sounds like from what you were telling me, the entire club did. So that was good to see.
Yeah,
it was.
I hate to leave you by yourself, but I'm getting called to my practice. So,
well, I suppose I could go on without you for a little bit.
I'll catch you with you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good time. Kick 'em where they ain't, or whatever it is. All right. What's disturbing about all of it, probably more disturbing than anything, was the either lack of response from the right, from the people who are supposed to be our leaders, to all of the lying, all of the which is very typical for this organization, that this Trump brand is having surrogates around explaining why they're not doing this or why they're not doing that. Instead of just doing it themselves, they always have to have somebody explaining why they're doing it. That, I guess, unless you don't have a brain that does things like the right does, you just don't understand it. Somebody has to explain it to you, right? It is very, very, very disheartening to not hear something as simple as, we understand your pain. We understand how you feel. We are going to do our best to make it, you know, we're going to address this. We feel your pain. Just show some empathy, right? Because whenever you get into this circle, and you know, here and here's something, here's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. One of the most racist fuckers you'll ever see, good old Tucker Carlson. How shocked are we that a 17-year-olds with rifles decide they had to maintain order when no one else would? You believe that shit? This is why you have the problems that you have. This is why we have riots. This is why we have cops who feel like they can drop 7, you know, half a magazine into a black kid's back. This is why, because they can, but they're doing is justified, right? It's justified because you have these assholes who are telling you it is. You have these clowns who are telling you it's justified. He can do it. Why can't he do it? They turn this 17-year-old asshole into a hero, right? He's a hero now. What's going to happen whenever this shithead,
Going really surprised that looting and arson accelerate.
Whenever this shithead, right? Whenever something happens to him, how many people is he going to, or if nothing happens to him, how many people is he going to inspire? How many people do you think were watching this asshole last night and sitting here and saying, you know what, that kid's right. That kid did it right. And now he's going to do it, right? And then they're going to inspire somebody else. If you don't believe me, and if you question what I'm saying, I don't know if anybody watching remembers the Columbine massacre. It might have been before some of your times. For some of us who are a little older, you don't forget it because it was really like the first mass school shooting there was, right? At least the first one that got a whole lot of attention. And there is surveillance footage up on YouTube, and it's censored, of course, right? I mean, because there were things that were going on that you know, and things that were said, and you actually saw these kids actually shooting people. You actually saw the shots. You actually saw the people get killed. You saw the bodies. You saw the blood. You saw the whole 9 yards. It was bad. It was terrible. And I actually have footage of this. I knew a guy who knew a guy, and I used it for my active shooter classes to show people that, you know, yeah, you're not going to survive this. If you think you're going to go try to disarm them, you're not going to survive this. And but you can go on YouTube right now, and I promise you will see comments that are less than a week old. And I haven't looked in 4 years, but I promise you'll be able to see comments that are less than a year old or less than a month old, saying, "Damn right, that's how you do it. That's how I'm good. That's how I'm going to do it." Tucker Carlson should be locked up. And look who's with us.
You know what? That I heard that, I saw that today in between all my mess here. Doesn't that tell you what Fox is all about?
Does it not?
Let's defend an idiot with an AR-15 shooting people. And one of the people that he shot was somebody trying to basically disarm him because he saw what he was doing.
Yeah, we had spotlighted one of the guys that the skateboarder.
Yeah, the guy's skateboard. That's exactly right.
Yeah, Frank was on the first half hour. But you guys taking turns?
Well, it was about perfect. He must have just went off then.
Couldn't have been 5 minutes.
Right. Okay.
Could have been 5 minutes. Sorry, my brain's going right. It's like, okay, I got this. I can do this. I can do this. And so I was doing pretty good. I'll be honest. I was doing pretty good.
Right.
But luckily you came to the rescue.
What'd you guys talk about the first half hour?
Basically last night and the NBA and WNBA and MLS and well, basically everybody but Major League Baseball, with the exception of the Dodgers, who did cancel their game. That was about it. We did a lot of bitching.
Just I'm watching this stuff in real time. It's like it just amazes me, and I jump on and off of Twitter, but boy, there was a comment yesterday that hit me, and a woman posted, and she said, "Is America already gone just because the polls are getting tighter? Because people think, well, COVID might be." They're getting used to this COVID and what's going on because maybe the numbers aren't being reported properly. And, she's like, is this country already lost? How could this guy be within 10 points? I mean, literally for everything he's done, how could he even be within 10 points?
Yep.
I mean, it's just that I'm thinking the same thing as her.
Yeah. What I'm always told is that 10 points is a mountain. Okay. It's a mountain. You don't understand just how far, how much that is. I sit there and I said, no, I have an engineering degree. I guess I don't understand numbers, but that's what it is. What gives me, I don't want to say hope because this is going to sound so terrible, but I heard the same thing, that people are getting used to the COVID. I sound like a matey, right? The COVID.
Yeah.
But
talking to your mom there.
Yeah, right. It sounds like it, huh? Yeah, he's got the cancer. I don't know what to do with him. Yeah, we just found out, poor guy. He's got the cancer, terrible cancer. Then, Mom, is there a good kind of cancer? But wait till school starts. If people are just blowing it off now and saying, well, it is what it is, and you know what, it's just something we have to deal with. See if they still have that 2-3 weeks after school starts.
Well, let me tell you, talk about school. My granddaughter was not supposed to start until 6 weeks out from now. She's now starting next week.
Really?
First grade.
Huh. Is is it in person?
In person.
Wow.
But that's, you know what, though, it's more of a controlled situation, though, because if she goes to a private school, because my daughter-in-law teaches there in Pittsburgh. So, and they've been having meetings, and they must feel that because of the small number of students and they're able to spread them out, we're talking maybe 10 to a classroom, normal size classroom. Okay. That maybe they feel they got plenty of room and stuff. I don't know. They're going to do it. They're going to do it and see how it goes. And they said if anything looks out and it doesn't look right, they'll immediately go back, like they did, they'll immediately go home.
So you right now, it's August. So she's going to start in September, right? Beginning of September. It's the 27th.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like let me think. How's that hit? The 3rd.
Okay.
Which is
so the first week.
I think Thursday, Friday, 3rd, 4th is how it.
So the first week of September, Western PA, the weather's pretty nice. You can have the windows open. You can do all of that, right?
Right.
What about November or December? Whenever you are now circulating the air in the building,
Well, you see, that's the thing that bothers me. Even say, you know, me even going anywhere, you going anywhere, because you figure right now, with the good air and everything's there, it's, in buildings, they do have recirculation, yes, but it seems to be less of an issue in the summer because a lot of people are still cranking windows open, even with air on. You're getting more clean air, so to speak, which tails way off in November. Once you hit November, once the weather gets crappy, who's going to open a window?
You spend more time outside. You
Yeah.
spend more time, when do gyms fill up, right? In July or in November?
Yeah, yourself in November.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what? And I was watching the scroll this morning on the 5 o'clock news. And I said, am I seeing this right? And I got to look it up on the Pennsylvania site to see. I've been watching Lawrence and, all our regional area around Pittsburgh, all the COVID numbers every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, today I saw Lawrence County and Mercer County going across the screen, and they went from about 450 to 330 overnight.
Oh, really?
I don't know whether that was a mistake or are they playing numbers. I mean, Trump's given the issue to the CDC to say, oh, if you think you're asymptomatic but not having symptoms just because you were exposed, we don't want you to have a test.
Yeah, they seem to be backtracking a little bit on that.
Yeah. And that's, it's bothering me, whatever he's playing around with right now.
Yeah, they seem to be backtracking, really, right?
Yeah, here I'm bringing up this is Pennsylvania, August 27th, county by county. So let's see what Penn Live says. Well, it must have been a mistake this morning on Channel 4, which is 5 new cases, Lawrence County, total 450. Negative results, 6515. Mercer County, new cases 2, total 539, negative 9699. Beaver, which is, I know they're a little bigger than Mercer County, new cases 6, total positive 1532, negative 16,000. See, but you know what a lot of that tells me too, like with Allegheny. Now Allegheny's down, they've been trending down, total positive 61. That's a county of 2 million. If anybody out there is not familiar with Allegheny County, which is the city of Pittsburgh and surrounding. They have, is it 3 weeks ago, they knocked the bars, said the restaurants can do 25%, but no bars are allowed to serve if you don't have food. Yeah. And mandatory masks. So that tells me from 3 weeks ago, they were going, 200 plus a day. Now they're trending down. They're down to 61. Geez, I wonder if masks work.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing we tell everybody, Lou, we used to tell people all the time whenever we shared an office, right? Numbers don't lie. We used to tell your half sister that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't like when you brought that up either.
No, she wasn't too thrilled about it. The only thing I had going for me in that whole thing is she liked you less.
I think you're right too.
I was always safe.
Just looked at you at the half brother she never had.
Yeah. What are you going to do, right? I mean, we all have our crosses to bear.
And you know what? I don't think she ever got your sarcasm. She didn't know when you were actually insulting her or not. No. And I'm like, she thanked you when you insulted her. I'm like, is she that stupid or what?
Yeah. Yeah, we had another guy in that office that sat beside her who was the same way. Yeah. It was unbelievable. Speaking of numbers, That's not good to see. Right? The economy plunged an annualized 31.7% in the second quarter.
And the Dow was up today 160 points.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked, because I wanted to ask Frank what he thought, because they put like smart sales. I mean, they actually took Exxon off the Dow and put on another, to me, basically a company that has nothing but advertising. I mean, there's no firm assets except their database or whatever, their towers housed somewhere in a cooling warehouse. Their servers.
Wow. Here's our GDP growth. Looks pretty good. Huh?
Yeah, how far? What's that say? I can't read it.
What's that say? Minus 31.7%. That's our
yeah. And it's just, and the Dow was up because the Fed did something with interest rates now. So they're basically propping up, the 10% of people who own 94% of that market.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Anybody else, I mean, let's face it, if you have less than probably what? 50 million in the market, you're not in that 90%, I would think. Does that sound about right? Assets control. I'd like to see what the bottom number would be.
Yeah.
And all those people out there that think they're big players with $250,000, you know what? They sneezed and lost or gained that amount in about 5 minutes today.
Yeah. This economy is definitely set up for the super rich.
And you know what? If that clown would get arrested, I hope he gets arrested.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Not
for another couple months.
If that clown would get elected again, you may see a major depression next year, and he would have no clue how to get out of it.
No clue.
No, not a clue.
Have you watched any of the RNC yet?
You know what? It was on for. I watched Kudlow for about 3 minutes and said I can't take him. The other.
Well, let me give it to you here just in a nutshell, okay? This is all you need to know. The part I don't understand, before I get into this a little bit, I want to bitch. How come they keep calling it misinformation? It's not misinformation. You're lying. Misinformation is whenever I tell you, Lou, honest to God, I know it was blue, but I could have sworn it was green. When I told you it was green, I apologize. It's actually blue.
Because it was
green, that's misinformation.
Yeah, because you were in the dark or something and you weren't sure.
Right. So I misinformed you.
That's not intentional.
Right.
Misinformation is not intentional.
So you have you have the big shit today who's going to lie through his orange teeth. You have Junior, who him and his girlfriend, she's his girlfriend, right? They must have done a couple of lines in the limo before they got on.
Did you see his eyes?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. We've both been around enough guys. Well, I shouldn't say guys. People hopped up in our lives.
Yeah, we know.
This guy was toasted. All right. He was toasted. Either that, or it was the worst case of seasonal allergies I've ever seen in my life. Right? It was one or the other. I mean, he was even sweating, for God's sake. They've lied about the coronavirus response. Of course, they did. In fact, I shouldn't say they. I should say Pence, because he's the only one that even mentioned it. They're lying about voter fraud again because that's a big Republican thing, right?
Right.
promises made, promises kept. We've already determined that he's going at about a 24.5% batting average. I mean, he's lower than the Mendoza line on that one, right? I wonder if anybody actually knows what the Mendoza line is, right? I wonder if anybody listening or watching even knows what that is.
If you know what it is, text in. I'm curious.
Yeah, let us know if you know what the Mendoza line is. It's the greatest economy in the history of the world, I guess. You know, in all of mankind. Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, that's this brain surgeon over here, claimed in her remarks that Biden would raise taxes on 82% of Americans. Whenever Biden said straight out, even in that ABC interview, that he was only hitting people at $400,000 a year, and he was pressed on it, and he repeated, and he even told what's his name that pressed him on it, and
David Muir.
Yeah, and even gave him like a bit of an attitude, like, "Can't you hear me?" Right? He's like, "No, I said 400,000 a year." Lou, I know a lot of people, right? But if you do the math, I should know some of these 82%.
Do you realize?
I don't know anybody that's making 400,000 a year.
Let me throw this at you. In the region we live, Youngstown, Newcastle's lumped in with it. Youngstown, Warren, Sharon. Do you know what the number is for household income to be in the top 20% of income earners in this area?
No, but I'm going to take a guess. I honestly don't know. I'm just going to flat out guess.
Okay.
60,000.
No, actually, the top 20% in this area is about 115,000 household income.
So I was half.
So that gives you the top 20.
Right.
Your median is actually below 60 in this area.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, median, if it's 100 whatever, I guess would be 50 something.
Yeah, it's in the low to mid 50s, I think.
Yeah, that's what I figured. If you're saying 100, 110, I just took half of that.
And I think if you did Lawrence County on its own, I think the median's actually in the 40s.
Yeah.
Which in this day and age, that's not good.
Poverty. That's poverty level. Or damn
poverty. If you have 4 kids, that's you have 4 family of 4 in the mid 40s. That's poverty level.
And guess who they're voting for?
Yeah. So if you take 400,000, somebody making 400,000 a year, and I'll tell you what, that's categorized as, I'm going to say, an anesthesiologist at a major hospital, maybe St. E's. Because you know what? There's a lot of physicians that aren't making that in a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're doing well, but I mean, so 400,000 a year. If you're not, so that tells you how heavy it's tilted.
Yep.
I mean, if you can go above 400,000 and tax them where you know it should be to take care of, I'm going to say at 400,000, that's top 5 to 10% already.
Yeah. 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 Okay, no, guys, he's not a soccer player. Sorry.
And you're also looking at you think about the people that aren't paying attention. If they cut out that payroll tax, you could actually drain Social Security by 2023.
Mm-hmm. Which is what they want to do. Isn't that what the Republicans want to do?
They've wanted to do it since it was brought in when was it, 38, 39?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we got that new push. Guys, just so you know, and thanks for the comments. The Mendoza line refers to the batting average of one Mario Mendoza, who played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Basically, the Mendoza line is a batting average of 200, which meant he got two hits every 10 times at bat. So if you're batting below the Mendoza line, there's a really good chance that you're not going to be on the team much longer. So that's where that came from. Just so you know. Look, I'm going to show you a picture. Okay. Let me.
Oh, by the way, $400,000 is top 5%.
Is it really? Yeah.
It's actually 376.6.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So he's even giving in on that a little bit.
Right.
I want you to take a look at this picture. Okay. Now you probably don't know what it's from.
I do, because I saw it, so I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, this is a picture that the RNC was just throwing around all over the place. I think it was the first night of the convention. Describing Trump's America. Okay. There's only one small problem with that picture. I'm sorry, they were doing they were saying it was Biden's America. I apologize. The problem with that is that's from Barcelona. Off by roughly 2,000 miles. Right? And don't forget, that's actually Barcelona, which is in the Catalan region of Spain. So it's not actually even the entire country of Spain. It's one city in one region. So they missed the hemisphere. They missed the everything other. Well, they missed it all. They totally missed the boat on this whole thing. And this is what the RNC is peddling. This is it. This is a taste of Biden's America. Right? And one sister says in the voiceover, the rioting, crime, freedom is now at stake, and this is going to be the most important election of our lifetime. There it is. The problem is it shows Spain. And it is in Catalan. And how do I know it's in Barcelona, Catalan? Well, if you've been following us for any amount of time, you know how I am with Barcelona. I got two problems with this, Lou, and one is more stupid than the other. Let's forget the fact that they totally missed the everything about it. We'll just go with the country. But let's assume they got the country right. Let's assume that happened in Walla Walla, Washington. Okay, that would be Trump's America, because that had been a picture of something that is happening now. You can't take a picture of something that happens in the future because it hasn't happened yet. You can't video something that is going to happen. This would have been something happening now with the current occupant of the White House. So what's more stupid? The fact that they got a rioting thing from another country and tried to peddle it off in as the U.S., or the fact that you're showing you're presenting something that is rioting in the U.S. and telling you that this, which is happening now, is going to be what happens if you vote for somebody in November.
You know, and another thing is you lie so damn much. Don't you know anytime you put anything out, it's going to get fact checked immediately? You know, because Google has image search. You could put that picture in Google and it'll tell you where it came from. I don't know if a lot of people realize that.
I honestly think the people that they're trying to show this to don't know what the Google machine is. That's
a good point.
That's something they ask their kids or grandkids to get on and to look for something. That's my guess. Problem is, there's not enough of them to win an election. There isn't. So why are you pandering to that? Why are you not pandering to the people who have the ability to look it up? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. You know, I should be a strategist. One more thing before we go, Lou, and this has me really scared, really scared. And if this doesn't scare you into voting in November, I don't know what will. Okay, but there.
Patsy, you faded on me. I don't know what you were going to say on this, so I'm just going to. I don't have no clue what he's going to say. Whether it's a poll or whether it is something different that he's saying.
Okay, sorry about that. I seem to have crashed. Oh, what's going on? And I'm on here twice now.
Yeah, well, you got a frozen Patsy. There you go.
There we go. See that?
All right. Okay. So what scares you?
A frozen Patsy. This has me really scared right here. Okay. White House says it's creating a very large dossier on Washington Post journalists and others. They are trying very hard to kneecap the fourth pillar, is what they're trying to do. The White House said in a story published Thursday that it was compiling a very large dossier on a Pulitzer Prize-winning Washington Post reporter and others who it said are a disgrace to journalism and the American people. In a statement, White House spokesperson Judd Deere, holy shit, Judd Deere, accused Washington Post of blatantly interfering with the business relationships of the Trump organization and demanded it must stop. Please be advised that we are building up a very large dossier on many of the false David Farnhold and others as they are a disgrace to journalism and the American people. If you want to know what a dictatorship is going to be like and what it's like to live under a dictatorship, vote for Trump in November. Because everything that you hold dear, every right and every freedom that you have will be gone. It will be gone. And you will have nobody to blame, and you will have nothing to fall back on except your sorry ass for voting for this clown. And whenever it happens, if it happens, it's all on you. It's all on every one of you motherfuckers who voted for this guy. And if you think they're just coming after us, we're just the first. He's coming after all of you. He's coming after all of us and everybody who doesn't agree with him.
And what they don't realize is, all these people running around like the asshole with the AR-15, against Black Lives Matters, this and that. How do you think Hitler took care of the Jews? It wasn't because he didn't have enough SS and everything else. It's because of the brown shirts. That there was. And this is basically America's brown shirts. And guess what? He used those idiots to get the undesirables until he needed them no longer. And guess what? That's when you're going to see your Second Amendment rights dissolved. And they know everybody that has ever had a hunting license, a carry firearms license or anything else you ever bought, and they're going to come after those guns then because he no longer needs you schlubs.
Nope.
The goal will be accomplished, and if it ain't him, it'll be asshole 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the Trump family. Take your pick.
Yep. And all he'll do is continue to they'll just hand it on down the line.
Yeah, you guys laugh at Kim Jong-un and the people there. Well, Kim Jong-un's a genius compared to this family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's coming. Guys, look at the crawl below us. 68 days until the most important election of your lifetime. That is not a buzz phrase. That is the honest to God truth. It is the most important election in your lifetime. I don't care how old you are. It is. Am I wrong?
To me, it is. I've seen him. I've voted since my first election was Carter, Ford in '76, and I've voted in every one since. And of course, I said, "Oh, that's this guy or that guy's bad." But the one thing I never had fear of until this guy was okay. I don't agree with politics. I wasn't a Bush fan. But guess what? I never had the fear he would ever do what this guy did and is going to do. Never. I never had that fear.
No, and you always had that comfort in the back of your head that there was another branch of government that would, that would step in and keep the other branch in line, and it was that way all the way around.
And they respected the rule of law.
Yeah, yeah, and they just don't anymore. They just don't.
And he throws it right in front of your face.
Yeah, he doesn't even hide it.
No.
He doesn't even hide it. Man, I wish we had something positive to end this on, Lou.
Well, I started my kitchen remodeling today. How's that for positive?
That's a positive. Well, it can be a positive thing.
And it's a mess. But I figured this is my window of opportunity till Trump crashes the economy, and at least I'll have a new kitchen to be unemployed in.
See that? Now that's positive right there. That's positive right there. You know what? I may not have a pot to piss in, but I'm gonna have a nice kitchen.
Well, we live out in the country. We could go in the backyard.
Well, that's true out here. I know a few guys who have said from time to time, you know what I would like to do? And I would say, what's that? I would like to be able to go up my front porch and take a piss and not have to worry about it. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can. You know what you don't want to do? You don't want to make, running to get a gallon of milk a trip. You'll take not being able to piss off your front porch, believe me. Anyhow, good luck with the kitchen. I'm glad you started it. Anyhow, weather's going to be shitty for the next few days, so you picked a good time.
Yeah, I got a couple guys in here tomorrow, and I got to start wiring and stuff. So,
let me know how that goes.
Oh, this guy wired ass backwards when there was no code 37 years ago.
No.
And it's like a different combination of what they did. There's things tied together that you can't even go anywhere near tying together now.
Really? Well.
Oh yeah. I you know what? I got everything apart. I had wire cutters off. I got a couple breakers off right now. I just took wire cutters, the leads, and snipped them.
There you go.
I'll rerun them into proper circuits that I need.
Yep. Well, good luck. I'm not going to be anywhere near that. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back tomorrow. Hopefully the three of us all at the same time. That would be nice. But either way, you got us all. You just got us in shifts. That's pretty much how it goes. I believe I have a planning meeting on Tuesday, Lou. So somebody might have to cover for me. I got the email. I didn't bother to check the date, but I don't know why it's on Tuesday instead of Monday. I don't know.
See what happens there.
Maybe something's happening. They're doing something to the municipal building. I don't know. But in either case, the three of us will be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. But until then, everybody stay safe and good luck. Goodbye.